Hello everyone, this is Chris. Today I'll be doing my article on school-related physical activity interventions and mental health among children, a systematic review and meta-analysis. Research phase is 5 for effective physical activity interventions for my topic, which is adolescence. The research area in relation to the article is school-related physical activity interventions in children and how it relates to mental health. That's the citation, and many of the authors are associated in Sweden and or London. This is the journal that the article is found in. It's called Sports Medicine Open. Has an impact factor about 5.9, which is pretty good, all things considered. And then below that is just something I found from their website. Just copy and pasted. So a quick introduction to the article. A general overview of the article. Mental health problems among children and adolescents are a growing public health concern in many high-income countries. Schools are a key setting for health promotion, yet the potential of school-based physical activity to improve mental health in general student populations have not been systematically reviewed. And while the benefits of physical activity for physical health are clear, its specific effects on a range of mental health outcomes in the school context remains inconsistent and poorly understood. The purpose of the article: to conduct a systematic review and meta-analysis on the effects of school-related physical activity interventions on both positive mental health and internalizing problems in children and adolescents, and to identify key moderators of these effects, such as age, the type of intervention, the implementation level, and to guide development of more effective and targeted school-based initiatives. The methods for the article. The design is obviously a systematic review and meta-analysis. It was registered in Prospero. That's the code for it. For data sources and search strategies, they did about 9 electronic databases with some listed there. They did the searches from 2009 to October 2019. This article was published in 2020, and they only included published peer-reviewed journal articles in English and or Sweden, because they're stationed in Sweden. Participates in interventions. The population, they have about 30 intervention studies involving general populations of children and adolescents aged 4 to 19. The interventions are basically all types of school-related efforts in increasing physical activity or reducing sedentary behavior. And they had a comparison with the meta-analysis, and basically just a bunch of control groups where it didn't have the intervention. This could be like normal PE classes and stuff like along those lines. For outcomes that they're looking for just general mental health problems, which is anxiety, depression, emotional problems, and then any like positive mental health, which is well-being, health-related quality of life, self-esteem, resilience, positive effects. For analysis, they did effect size. They did a standardized mean difference, which is Hedges G, for each outcome. The model was random effects meta-analysis to pool results due to the heterogeneity. And for additional analysis, they did narrative modular analysis for age, sex, SES, intervention, focus, and implementation level. Here's the Prisma flow diagram for the study. Same as all the other Prisma flow diagrams. They found a bunch of eligible ones, and they excluded a bunch. And eventually they came in with about 30 down here. For quantitative and qualitative, they have about 31. Here is a quick list of the included studies. This is like a different chart from what they included in their included studies, but all this table basically shows what the intervention focus was for the study, implementation reach, how many male to female, the age group, SES study quality, and type of control group. These are just like characteristics of the study, but in relation to their effect modifier that they were looking for in the study. Going into the results, the most significant benefits they saw from these intervention programs were for anxiety, resilience, well-being, and positive mental health, which is a bunch of factors together as like a composite score. But that was the main findings they found. They also found that for these interventions, they had no significant effects for depressive symptoms, emotional problems, health-related, quality of life, self-esteem, and positive or negative effects. And for internalizing mental health, they found no significance as well. And internalizing mental health is basically like the children internalizing all the problems, like, oh, how did they actually get it inside, like feel it inside. Important modulators and caveats they found was interventions showed negative or no effects in younger children, but positive or no effects in older children, which is kind of interesting. And there was really high heterogeneity, meaning that the studies in the way they found this stuff was varied. So all these results are taken with a bit of caution because of how different they are. So going into the actual figures of the article, this is the meta-analysis they found. This is how they found the results and also how they eventually made their plot diagrams. So as you can see in this diagram, as we said before in the results section, anxiety, well-being, resilience, and positive mental health all have a significant p-value for the summary effect for the hedges. For the hedge value, if it's negative, it means negative effect, and then if it's positive, it means a positive effect. So we want to see positive effects for the for many of the variables, and we want to see it significant. But only those four were found to be significant. As you can see on the right, all the way to the right, there's very high heterogeneity with the I2 of like 98, 77, 64. So all these results should take them with a bit of caution because how different they were between studies. This is figure 2 of the article. Basically, they're trying to find the effects of physical activity interventions in school on internalizing mental health problems. As you can see from the figure, the red diamond's in the middle, so there was no significance. But basically, once again, internalizing mental health problems is when the children, have it on the inside. Basically, they bottle up their emotions and they can't get it out, which is bad. So it's a shame that there was no positive effects on that, but that's what the article found. For figure 3, they're trying to find the effects of physical activity interventions in school on positive mental health. This is what you want to see. This is like one of the main positive effects of the article. As you can see, many of the articles found it skewed to the right side, which favors intervention, except that one outlier in the middle, which is heavily to the left. Basically showing that these interventions are very positive on the mental health of children. As you can see, the red diamond is on the right side, so it favors interventions. So in conclusion, school-related physical activity interventions may reduce anxiety, improve well-being, resilience, and positive mental health in children and adolescents. This reinforces school-based initiatives to increase physical activity. The effects are not universal. The success of an intervention is moderated by factors like the age of the child, with older adolescents potentially benefiting more. The evidence base shows consider heterogeneity that we talked about, and the studies vary greatly in design, intervention type, and quality, so broad recommendations must be made cautiously. Basically, like no one size fits all. The effect of reduced sedentary behavior mental health remains unclear, as no included intervention had this as a primary aim, which is if the rise of sedentary behavior is something we all need to research. Connected to other research phases, we have phase 1, benefits of physical activity, mental health, factors that influence physical activity, all these different intervention programs, and obviously this is phase 5. For practical applications, for schools and policymakers, initiatives to increase physical activity in schools are justified not only for physical health, but also for mental health benefits. Once again, one-size-fits-all approach may not work, especially for younger children because of all the differences and finding the differences between the age from older children and younger children, and monitor mental health outcomes when implementing new PA programs to make sure that they're doing the job that they're supposed to do. For program designers, consider the development stage of the target group, right? Once again, age has differences, and pay close attention to implementation quality and not just the amount of reach it can have. The strengths of the study are comprehensive pre-registered search strategies. They have a dual independent review process. focused on both positive and negative mental outcomes and attempted to analyze the implementation factors. Some weaknesses of the study are high heterogeneity in intervention and control groups. They have a mixed methodological quality of included studies, inconsistent reporting of implementation data, and control groups were often active, potentially underestimating effects, because it would be better if it's like no activity versus activity, but some of the control groups were like normal PE classes, as mentioned before, which already has physical activity in it, which could potentially already have benefits. For the author's take on future studies, he thinks people should conduct more high-quality universal interventions to clarify the overall effectiveness of school-based physical activity programs on mental health. You should also investigate the specific mechanisms through which physical activity leads to mental health improvements. This could be like, is it biological, neurological, behavioral? They should implement studies with clear reportings on implementation factors and control group activities to aid interpretations. What I think is to use qualitative methods like surveys or self-reports to explore why interventions show negative effects in younger children and how program delivery can be adapted, because the data can only show so much. They should investigate the role of sedentary behavior as a distinct factor influencing adolescent mental health in the school context. And they should examine how multiple student identities, so basically gender role, and how that interacts to shape their experience in response to physical activity interventions. And thank you for listening.